Dear loved ones, I have good news for you. If you have come to the realization that you are a victim of narcissistic abuse, you are already among the less than 1% of the luckiest people in the world. After living on 4 continents, traveling through many cities, meeting countless souls, and getting to know some of their stories deeply, I realized a shocking truth. I do not know one single person whose family is narcissist free. The official data on the percentage of narcissists can absolutely be trashed. So, what purpose does this information serve? As AA meetings have taught us, in order for an alcoholic to heal, one must first admit that they are an alcoholic. It takes tremendous courage to admit that one's parents or children are narcissists. Well, it is much easier to accept that our partners or people we know are narcissists. Sink into this thought for a moment. Okay. If by this day you have arrived at this conclusion, congratulations, you are on the right path. The first step is to acquire knowledge about narcissism. This takes dedication, research skills, and the determination of a truth seeker. Then many of us get stuck at this stage because after the study, we sharpen our sensibilities. Suddenly, we see narcissists everywhere. We fall into despair in a world designed and run by narcissists. We question why we were even born here. Remember, the only way out is through. This is exactly the moment when some of us begin to pursue spiritual knowledge and cultivate a practice that can regulate ourselves, whether through art, music, walking, exercise, caring for animals, children or seniors, volunteering, journaling, and so on. We gain great comfort during those moments when we can stop the racing thoughts circling around the trauma formed by our previous abuse. Suddenly, all the things that bother us seems to disappear. However, once we zoom back out, the problems re-emerged. At this point, some of us carried on with life while adding more soothing activities. But those who are truly devoted to healing themselves discover a secret within their practice. We find a flow in our hearts, a stream of energy coming into us from somewhere else. That's this moment we become convinced that there's more than our eyes can see. It takes an enormous amount of concentration, discipline, and, most importantly, humility to arrive at this stage. Do you remember the famous questions? What does the devil not have? The answer is humility. Once we develop faith, not religious faith, but spiritual faith, we can no longer deny the most direct way to speak to God. Not an old white man with a long beard sitting on the throne. The higher power is what I meant. The higher power is not only our higher selves, the universe, the collective consciousness. It is the one, the highest of high. When we can speak to that directly, what problem cannot be solved? This is when meditation comes in. One cannot call themselves a spiritual practitioner or a healer without a daily meditation practice. Along the way, we discovered that we have been, are, and will continue to be guided by a higher power all the time. We are absolutely protected. After we establish and learn to maintain that connection, we realize that there are still so many narcissists in the world. What do we do about it? The answer is not to do anything about it. And this is not ignorance. It sounds cliche, but it's 100% true. Change yourself, change the world. When we truly believe in our connection with a higher power, we know that an abundant amount of energy flows through us at all times. We come out of survival mode. No matter how narcissists use media, social construct, and world chaos to inject a scarcity mindset, we know that all shall be well. However, we still have free will and unwanted behaviors caused by lingering trauma, and that is perfectly okay. Nobody can be fully healed in one go. That is when our daily meditation becomes a life-saving rope reaching down to us from above. We realize that despite stumbling around and making repeated mistakes, we can always save ourselves. We may stay in this cycle for a while, wondering how many more waves of dark night of the soul, how many more narcissistic lessons, and how many more relapse we will have. There seems to be no light at the end of the tunnel. And it is exactly at this moment that we get to choose again: hope or hopelessness. Some choose spiritual bypassing, participating in various rituals, relying on psychedelics or external tools, or profiting from spiritual business. But the real deals carry on. The ones who have the courage to go one step deeper each time, layer by layer, face the deepest shadows, not only within ourselves, but within our ancestral lineages, collective trauma, and most difficult of all, our own current bullshit. Stay here for a moment, okay? That is a hard pill to swallow. And this is the only way for us to achieve unconditional self-love. In other words, to merge with our higher self. When we love ourselves, we cherish every bit of our energy like a jewel in the crown. We no longer allow ourselves to be tortured in ways that generate narcissistic supplies through systematic energy farming. A wise man once said, "Nobody can ever torture you. The only person who can torture you, it is yourself." This means the narcissists around us vanished one by one because they can no longer feed on our energy. It also means we're no longer taken over by fear, anger, and anxiety about things beyond our control. War, economy collapse, pedophile rings, or global pandemics. It also means we no longer deplete ourselves trying to rescue those who are still in denial. Remind yourself, every bit of energy you spend on unhelpful things is energy taken away from building yourself. It has nothing to do with being self-centered. As empaths, we often give way more than we have to others. It is about not giving away your energy as the building block of a narcissistic world. Remember, everything in the physical world is first built in the metaphysical world through energy. When we become secure in our purpose and devote our attention to healing and self love, some of us who genuinely wish the best for others and for the world may still ask, is there anything we can do to make this world a better place? Yes, absolutely. The world is nowhere near as hopeless as the media portrays it to be. They would have us believe that we're on the fast train rushing towards a dystopian future. Based on the law of the universe, or we call the Tao, there's always a balance of energy. The amount of horrors we witness only show us how much light there is. And that light is brought by higher power through the higher selves of fellow travelers like you, the ones who have gone through the steps mentioned above and finally seeing themselves, seeing their inner light. By removing the last trace of our fear of being seen, we surrender to our mission to be our most authentic selves, to share our wisdom, and to shine our light. Every bit of inner light radiates into the world, creating the true reality that most humans' 3D sense cannot yet perceive. Whenever we witness abuse, we know that a saint may be born. Whenever we encounter a major event, we know that it is a golden opportunity for awakening. Whenever we hear about war, we know that collective consciousness is preparing to take a leap. So, my dearest fellow travelers, I have answered your question on my own. For example, how do I deal with an aging narcissist mother who is likely to develop Alzheimer's soon? The answer is to shine my light right now. Everything that distracts us from that is merely a test. Only by doing so I can become a lighthouse for those seeking direction on the spiritual healing journey. Only by doing this, so can I form a constellation with other stars, my soul family, to open a portal of hope. It is a lonely journey. I have no doubt about your determination to walk your path. That is why you have found me, and I'm here for you. Much love.